The night police lights flashed red and blue across my porch. I stood there with a rifle still slung on my chest and my retired K9 pressed against my leg. Karen sat in her shiny white SUV, yelling that I should be arrested for refusing to join her HOA. Within minutes, my quiet street turned into a battlefield between law lies and the neighbors who finally saw her empire crack. Act 1. The conflict begins. I bought my place on Birch Lane because the deed said it clear as sunlight, no HOA. That was the whole point. I'd served long enough. I wanted peace. My dog Ranger wanted a yard, and I wanted to breathe without some clipboard queen telling me what color my porch rail had to be. But peace lasted about 5 minutes. First week I found a note on my welcome mat. Welcome to Willow Lake. HOA meeting Thursday, dues $150 a month. Attendance mandatory. Karen. No letterhead, no phone number, nothing official, just the faint smell of lemon candle wax. I showed it to Mr. Jenkins, the old man with denim overalls and a cane. He chuckled, but not in a funny way. Yep, you got the Karen letter. Don't sign a thing. Street's not under her HOA. She's been trying to pull this stunt for years. 2 days later I opened my door, and there she was. White blouse, plastic badge hanging from a lanyard clipboard clutched like a sword. Michael Wright, dues are due, cash, check, or card. Card has a small fee. I told her I'm not in your HOA. She smirked, peered over my shoulder like she was inspecting dust. Everyone in Willow Lake participates or they face fines. Standards matter. Then she rattled off her schedule like a drumbeat. Day 1, warning day 2, $50, day 3, 100 day, 4 lien. I held up my deed plain as day. Not on Birch Lane, not me. She tilted her head. So you're difficult. And that's when the war began. First came the emails, immediate action required. Then stickers slapped on my mailbox in neon orange, non-compliant. Which, by the way, is a federal offense. Mailboxes aren't hers. One afternoon I came home to find a tow truck hooking my old blue pickup in my own driveway. Karen stood there with her clipboard like a general at war. I pulled out the deed, showed the driver. He read it, handed it back like it was a hot skillet, and told her flat, I'm not touching his truck. Then he drove away. Karen's jaw twitched. She leaned close, hissing, You will not live easy here. Act 2. Escalation and doubt. That's when the real pressure began. Letters with fake seals. Emails demanding fines. Even final notices stamped with a red lion like some medieval kingdom had authority in Texas. Then came the cops. 2 of them standing at the bottom of my steps, hands on their belts. Behind them, Karen in her SUV, chin up like she was the law herself. Sir, the taller officer said, we've had multiple calls. You're refusing HOA compliance, that you're threatening neighbors. I stood there, rifle slung from Coyote Patrol Ranger sitting steady by my leg. I wasn't waving the gun. Safety was on. Legal. But Karen shouted through her window, Arrest him. He's brandishing that dog as dangerous. That's when Sheriff Dawson pulled up. Big man, low-hat eyes like stone. He looked at me, at Ranger, then at Karen. Ma'am, we've covered this. He's not part of your HOA. His deed says no covenants. You don't get to vote yourself power over his land. Karen's face went red. Then cite him for intimidation with that weapon. The sheriff just shook his head. Lawful carry. End of story. But it wasn't the end. Because tucked in the passenger seat of her SUV, the sheriff spotted a folder stuffed with papers, each stamped with that same red lion. Fake fines, fake liens, whole neighborhoods listed. And that's when I started to crack. I lay awake nights thinking maybe she'd win anyway. She had papers, she had cops showing up, she had money behind her. Maybe I was the fool holding everyone else back. Maybe I should just pay the stupid fees and buy myself some peace. But then neighbors started speaking up. Jenkins told me he'd been bullied for years. Tina admitted she got letters too, thought they were real. Jess, the teenage girl, whispered she'd seen Karen's men sneaking by fences with flashlights. And that's when I realized if I gave in, I wouldn't just be giving up my peace. I'd be giving them power over everybody. So I stood back up. But Karen pushed harder. One morning I found my chicken coop spray-painted blood red, join or lose. Another night, 3 white pickups rolled up men in fake vests with bolt cutters, sledgehammers, even a cable hook to cut my power meter. A drone hovered overhead spotlight on my porch, blasting a robotic voice. "This property is out of compliance. Final notice." Ranger growled like thunder, every hair standing up. I called the sheriff. The men smirked. "We can do this the easy way or the hard way." Neighbors came pouring out phones recording kids clutching parents. Jenkins bellowed across the street, "Put down those tools or you'll see real cops." Lights flicked on porches filled, and for the first time, Karen's hired goons hesitated. Then golden green lights swept up Birch Lane, Sheriff Dawson's Tahoe. Within seconds, 2 men were cuffed, their trucks searched. Inside, piles of fake lien papers, counterfeit violation stickers, even more drones and crates. And here's the kicker. One of the men cracked under pressure. He blurted out the truth. Karen paid us, said she had the legal right, said the board was backing her. The board. That's when the bottom dropped out of my stomach. This wasn't just Karen. There was a whole LLC behind her. Willow Lake Master Development Board. Planning to spread HOA control across the county. My house was listed as a holdout. Forced compliance likely. So yeah, I was scared. For myself. For my sister who lived 3 towns over. Because tucked in that final notice envelope they later tossed on my porch was a glossy photo of her house. Her flower bed. Her kids' toys in the yard. Message received. Join or your family pays the price. Act 3. The showdown. That night, 3 black SUVs rolled slow down Birch Lane. Suits stepped out, shiny shoes, slick ties, smiles like knives. Mr. Carter, the leader, said calm as a surgeon, "We represent the Willow Lake Master Development Board. Compliance isn't optional. You will sign or the consequences escalate beyond your comfort." I could feel my neighbors behind me, porch doors creaking open, phones raised, Jenkins muttering snake oil in a tie. I tightened my sling, kept my rifle angled down, voice steady. "You've trespassed, vandalized, threatened families. Sheriff has all your evidence. You need to leave." The man smirked. "Evidence disappears. Neighbors can be bought. Houses can burn." That was it. Neighbors stepped forward. Tina shouted, "We're not scared of you." Jess clutched her little brother but stood tall. Phones lit the night, recording every word. And then Karen stormed out of her house, hair-wild phone in hand. "You think this ends here? The board owns this town." But her own contractor had already confessed. The sheriff held up the fake papers, the stolen equipment, the threats. Enough to bury her. Deputies moved in. Karen screamed I was building order. I was making standards as the cuffs clicked around her wrists. The sheriff's voice was steady as a blade. "Order doesn't come from fear. It comes from law and neighbors who stand together." And just like that, Karen's empire crumbled on the same street she thought she ruled.